Greetings and thanks so much for tuning into the Barbara Dean Franklin Show, Real Talk, Real People. I am your host, Barbara Dean Franklin, and today I have the awesome pleasure of sitting with my new friend, Prophetess Cosey Long. We're going to be talking, as you see all the purple, about the Walk to End Alzheimer's disease.
Correct.
Okay, so Prophetess Long, if you would first give us a little history about you and some of the things that you've done, where you do, and how you've been affected by this disease.
Okay. Well, I do a lot with young women. I have a ministry, it's called EWTW, which is Edifying Women Teaches Women.
Okay.
And I deal with young women, old women, and it's just all about empowerment, dealing with young women who are suffering from low self-esteem, bullying, molestation, and it's not something that I've heard, it's something that I know, so I can passionately talk about it. I've been affected by Alzheimer's disease. My mother was diagnosed in 2008 at 57, and I recently lost her on St. Patrick's Day. So once I found out about Alzheimer's disease, I just became an advocate for it. I wanted to know what it was, how it affects my loved one, what can I do, what can I prepare myself for, because I'm an only child, so if I don't do it, it doesn't get done.
Most definitely.
And she was my best friend.
Amen. Well, we thank God for you, and I truly know, I don't know what it is to lose a mom, but I know what it is to, my mom suffered like 4 strokes since 2007. She has the feeding tube. I'm watching her and being a caregiver of her, along with my sister and my brother, but watching the woman she used to be, seeing to, where she is now. I know that she is slightly sometimes affected by that. Some days she's, moving around and she's mobile. There are some days I don't see her in herself,
Right.
So I too need to know all that I can about that disease, because I know it comes and goes. They're, they're in a place where they're familiar, but sometimes familiar things become unfamiliar to them.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about, like, what is the disease? Where does it come from? Do you know that?
Absolutely. Well, Alzheimer's disease was actually named after Dr. Alice Alzheimer's.
Okay.
He was a professor of psychology in Germany. He gave a lecture regarding symptoms that he had observed in a 51-year-old lady, and from Frankfurt. He described a cluster of symptoms including reduced comprehension and memory and disorientation. And from that disease became known as Alzheimer's disease because it was named after him.
Okay.
And what usually happens is there is a gene in your loved one or whomever is suffering from this disease that takes over. It causes them to be disoriented. You will notice, like, if you look at your mom sometimes, she might seem lost or confused because she is. And it's because they're in a place and time that we can't understand. Sometimes they revert back to their childhood. Sometimes they revert back to a place that's just a happy place for them. I had an incident with my mom. She got so angry with me because she didn't know who I was. So it's really important for us to get our loved ones checked. Alzheimer's disease affects 5.2 million people in the United States.
Now, you often hear where people refer to Alzheimer's as old-timers disease. Is it just a disease that affects senior citizens, or can anybody be affected by? I mean, how does that work? Do you know?
Well, yeah, I do. Actually, the youngest person who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's was 14 years old. So it's not an old person's disease.
Right. Okay.
Now, what you're talking about is being senile or senility. That comes with age.
Right.
Alzheimer's disease is a disease that once a person loses oxygen to the brain, this gene takes over. And it just runs rampant, and it causes them to become disoriented and confused. And doctors have said that there are 7 stages of Alzheimer's, and it starts off mild and then gets from mild to severe, and then that's when people start to revert back to childhood. It's like they remember sporadic things, and then they begin to remove the memory, and then they continue to erase it until it's all gone.
So is there a way that people can be proactive to try to, before, like my mom, again, she had the stroke. So you know that her, the brain, the oxygen was cut off from the brain or whatever. And, mom is, she gets around, she has a little difficulty, but there are some days, like, she loves to gossip, okay? So she loves to, she cannot talk.
Right.
But she gonna point at you and go down the line, who? Me, my sister, my brother, until you figure out what it is that she's talking about. So there are some days, she's great. And then there are some days I'm like, okay, Mom, get up so we can go to the bathroom. And it's like, she don't remember how to get up.
Right.
It's like, she's just there, or want somebody. Sometimes she probably just want us to help her get up too. My mom thinks she's slick, but, so is there a way, like when you know that people may be on the onslaught of that disease, what are some proactive things that you can keep them in, familiar thing, how do you help them to, like, maybe exercise their brain to, remember things, or to help them do things that they need to do? What do you do when you know that somebody may suffer from that disease? What kind of things can you do? That's what I'm asking.
Well, first of all, there is no prevention and there is no cure.
Right, right.
Exercise is very important.
Okay.
I really like, there's a website called Luminosity.com.
Yeah,
you're on that?
Yeah,
oh, wonderful.
Wait, I paid for it. I haven't been on it about a month or two, but I definitely need it because I'm taking ginkgo, trying to keep my brain active, so I do the Luminosity, shooting the birds and having to look and do all. I'm like, look, I'm not doing this today. Okay. But
right,
yeah,
but exercise, Sudoku, crossword puzzles, all of that stuff helps with stimulating the brain. What I used to do is I used to put pictures of myself, my children, my mother's siblings, just around her so that she can be familiar. Another thing, and it's like a trick, it's like mind over matter. You have to play these little games.
Manipulate them.
Absolutely.
Right.
When my mother used to become lost, I would put a mirror in front of her, and it would snap her out of it immediately. But and that's the really hard part, is because one day I thought, okay, she's gonna wake up and this is gonna be a joke, and this is, but
it didn't happen.
No, 30 minutes later, she didn't even know where she was. So those are the stages, and it does start to affect them being able to control their urinary and their bowels, and then they stop eating because the brain does not tell the body that it's hungry.
So when you think about it, like, what is the most important thing that somebody should know about Alzheimer's disease? If they have somebody that's, in the early stages of it, the late stages of it, what do you think is the most important thing that people should understand about this disease?
That it's angry.
Okay.
That it's aggressive. That it takes no prisoners.
Okay.
And that you have to be patient. A lot of us don't realize that this disease is not our parents. It's not our loved ones. And so I have a lot of friends that get frustrated with their loved ones because they don't understand how they just knew something 30 minutes ago, but now they don't know it.
Right.
Or how they get angry 5 minutes later when they weren't angry before. But it's not your loved one, is the disease. And you have to exude patience. You should never argue with an Alzheimer's patient because they're already losing their independence. The last thing that they want to do is feel like they're losing their mind.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so you're giving me something to take back so I can have more patience with Doris Louise Franklin.
Amen.
Yeah, I definitely, because there are some days I'm just like frustrated, like, Mom, help me help you. The more you do, the more we're able to continue to do for you. But I have to remember, I'm not trying to do it always in love, but sometimes I look into her eyes And,
made me cry.
yeah. Yeah, sometimes I look into her eyes and I just see, because she can't talk to me.
Right.
So I look in her eyes and I see that she's just saying, baby, just be patient with me.
Right. Help me.
I've been there with you.
Right.
Just be patient with me. And I'm making a commitment right now to make sure that I go back and just be more patient with my mother. Amen. As I think about it, because I know that, that stroke, even though it's in her physical appearance, that mentally something is lacking as well.
Absolutely.
So I'll make sure. So let's talk about the Walk to End Alzheimer. And if I can, I'll read this card. You said this is mine, right? With the pretty little
Absolutely. I created this pen.
You did that?
Yes, I did.
You can always tell by looking in the eyes of a loved one that they have dementia or Alzheimer's disease. I once asked the doctor, why do they look lost? He said, because they are. Wear this pen to show your support for Alzheimer's disease and allow this angel to guide and protect the eyes of the one you love. Dedicated to the eyes of Rose. Walk to End Alzheimer's disease. Now, and so for orders, you can call 248-291-4288. And this is a lovely pen, purple, which is a really good color. I love that. It's royalty. But you talked about your organization. I think that may be why I know you, because I have a organization that I'm starting, Women Empowered Crossing Paths. And it's a network of women uplifting, encouraging, inspiring, motivating each other and the young girls, And I, too, suffer from, abuse, sexual abuse from a little girl, domestic violence, and a lot of different things. So definitely we will talk,
Yes,
Women Empowered Crossing Paths.
Amen.
Okay, so this is, again, how God allows us to cross paths. But let's talk about the walk and the different things that you're doing. Every 68 seconds, someone in America develops Alzheimer's disease. Let's talk about the fight and what you're doing to try to bring the attention to the disease. And like you said, you can't eradicate it. You can't stop it.
Right.
It is out there, it's prevalent, it's going to happen, but what we can do to help the cause.
Yes. The Walk to End Alzheimer's disease is August 24th.
Okay.
It's going to be at Ford Field.
Okay.
It is a mile walk. It starts at Ford Field. The registration starts around 8 o'clock.
In the morning?
8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And the walk starts at 9.
All right.
It takes place right around Adams. It goes around Woodward, and then we come back through the tunnel that the Lions come through. So that's really exciting.
I graduated through there. That's where I walked for the University of Phoenix. So we had the
praise
opportunity
God.
of going
Okay,
through there. Yes,
that is awesome.
Yes.
But yeah, we have a lot of different items for the Alzheimer's Association. Well, the color for Alzheimer's is purple.
Okay.
And the flower for Alzheimer's is the Forget-Me-Not. That's this little flower here.
All right.
And we have a lot of different things. We have our piggy banks that that we are selling for $5.
Okay.
We have the wristbands that sell for $3.
All right.
And then we have the tin cans that you can put in the office or anybody's office.
Okay.
Our team is called the Eyes of Rose,
Okay.
which is my mother. I said Alzheimer's has a face.
Okay.
It has a face.
Yes,
this
it
is
does.
this is my face.
All right.
And so you have to have something, that motivates you to do this.
Exactly.
And the thing that I love the most about the Alzheimer's Association is they have a support line. They have a hotline that's 24/7. You can call anytime if there's something that you are dealing with that you don't know how to deal with.
Right.
I can give the 1-800 number. It's 1-800-272-3900.
All right. Repeat that.
1-800-272-3900.
All right.
And then the Alzheimer's website is www.alz.org.
Okay.
And if you want the Greater Michigan chapter, it would be www.alz.org/GMC.
GMC.
Yes.
Greater Michigan. Okay.
Yes, Greater Michigan chapter.
Not General Motors. I'm just thinking, I'm just trying to
right, Greater
associate
Michigan
something.
chapter, absolutely.
I'm always trying to associate something in our head. And so now, the Alzheimer's Association, this walk was already happening this particular time, and so you you came up with your Eyes of Rose, you know, your cause to join in with the Alzheimer's disease. So, you know, how the numbers and information that you just gave out was for the Alzheimer's Association.
Yes.
So is there something that they can do to personally link up with you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If a person wants to link up with our team, the Eyes of Rose, you can call me directly at 248-817-8336.
Okay.
Again, that's 248-817-8336.
Okay.
And that's the team for the Eyes of Rose.
Okay.
The Alzheimer's Association actually reached out to me because I've been doing, like I said, once I found out about my mother, I just started to do whatever I could.
Okay.
I was at her nursing home every day, so much so that the doctors were like, you gotta go home,
Okay.
or you're gonna make yourself sick.
All right.
And I just recently wrote a book,
All right.
and it's called Disappearing Before My Eyes with Alzheimer's.
Wow.
And I partner with her doctors, her psych, Dr. Barry Siegel, her neurologist, Dr. Tessie Jenkins, and her primary doctor, Dr. Niran Bajuka. And so we've worked together, and it's not this sanitary look at Alzheimer's, like what you should do. This is what it is. It's real. It's real.
Okay.
It's my story.
All right.
As an only child, you know, I do give information about it.
That's good. And I know that this is still new and fresh to you because your mom passed on
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day of this year. So, you know, I commend you, you know, for your strength.
Thank you.
Because although she's passed away, you're still her voice. You know, you give a voice and a picture. You know, we see, you know, the Eyes of Rose. You know, we know who she is. And then we see the great woman that she has raised in you, you know. So, you know, do not get weary in what it is that you're doing, because you will be a blessing to others for generations to come. Because like you said, this disease, there is no cure. So it's going to be around for a very long time.
Amen.
So what you are doing will go down in history. You will help somebody. Your book, you know, your story, your walk, the attention that you're bringing to this disease, it will help somebody. So stay encouraged and keep hearing your mom's voice say, baby, you're on the right track. Okay. We are live today. We're broadcasting. This broadcast was for noon, but we had to go early, and we will be rebroadcasting today at 1 p.m. You can also catch it on demand and also on YouTube. So I don't want to take the attention away from the Alzheimer Walk, which is August the 28th.
August the 24th.
24th, I'm sorry, at 8 a.m. at Ford Field.
Yes, Ford Field.
That's where you're registering.
That's where you're registering at Ford Field, and then the walk starts right outside of Ford Field.
Okay, but
and you can donate. That's the biggest thing is donations. I mean, there's no amount that's too small, no amount that's too big, because all of this money is going towards the research and the cure for Alzheimer's disease. There is not one now, but I'm telling you, there are people that are working constantly to try and find one.
Well, listen, your donations are really helpful to this cause. Your little helps a lot.
Amen.
So do not think that what you do will not make a difference. Whatever you can give to this cause, and it's much needed, because I promise you, somebody that is looking at this has been affected, will be affected. It's really amazing that a young lady that goes to church with me, her name is Zoe Karen Seiji. Her mom had Alzheimer's. She passed 2 years ago now. And at the end of her funeral, Mother Gloria got up and she read this article that Betty DeRamus had written in the Detroit News. And the article had been written years ago, and it was talking about an Alzheimer's patient and how her daughter had to get creative, and like she didn't remember her daughter, but her daughter would like call on the telephone and act as if she was talking to herself to help her mother remember. And Betty and I are Facebook friends, and I was telling her about you know, somebody had wrote that article, and she actually remembered my girlfriend, and just the things that you have to do to be creative, to help your loved ones have a sense of peace in their own home when they become unfamiliar with their surroundings. You know, it's like you have to play a game.
You do.
You have to play a game with them to help them to remember. And then you just think about all the love and the care that they gave for us. It's really hard to look at a person who was strong, who did everything for you, who was, you know, everything that you looked up to sit and you see they can't do anything for themselves.
The roles had reversed. The roles had reversed.
Most definitely. So I know that it's, you know, had to be difficult for you, but I know that you did it with so much love and so much pride. I know that Miss Rose, I know that she was very well taken care of. I mean, you walked in here, I could feel your presence.
Praise
your
God.
mother left something with you, on you, that nobody can ever take away from you. You know, so that's the power of the rose that she gave you. You know, it's like the power of pine saw. You know, it's
all on me.
It's all over you. You know, so I just really thank God for that. And as you let's talk a little bit about your ministry and, you know, what it is you do. You say you've been in different plays, or you've traveled all over?
I have.
Okay.
God, for 15 years.
Okay.
I did a lot of the urban circuit plays. I traveled with Mike Matthews for years.
All right.
I also sang background for Vicki Winans. I did that for years as well.
Okay.
I've written a couple of plays.
All right.
One was called Enough is Enough, which talked about domestic violence.
All right.
And no promoter would pick it up because he said it was too real and people were not ready. Ready then.
Okay.
For it.
All right.
Amen. I received that. I received that. I received that.
Yes. Yes, because now, I mean, you look at the news and so much stuff is going on.
Oh my
in
goodness.
The world. So much stuff is going on. And it's time. I just traveled to Lansing and sat down with the director of Capital Area Response Effort. And that's a domestic violence group that I used to work with back in '98. Okay. And it's such an awesome group because they work with the Lansing Police Department, and they wear pagers or carriers. Well, hopefully they're not wearing a pager today. Maybe they have a cell phone. Right. You know, so when they get a domestic call, they call them. And you know how the victims, or, you know, or survivors as we call them now, are not going to the police station. They don't want to press charges. They don't go out to the places because so many people have turned their back on them. But they allow the advocates to go to them wherever they are, if it's the police station, if it's the hospital. So you have that privacy where you can sit one-on-one and let the people know that somebody is here to support you. And that's what we need, you know, as women. You know, that's why women in power.
There are men that are being abused. They just won't say it, and I know some.
Most definitely, I did have to, you know, go out and speak to some men, and you are so right. There are men that are being abused as well. Gay, lesbian community, a lot of different things, you know, that are happening out here. So, you know, what you're doing, you know, is a great thing, and so maybe now somebody will pick up that Tyler Perry, in case you run across this.
Right.
In case you run across this show. I mean, because it's prevalent. It's happening.
That's right.
You know, and there are a lot of different issues that we need to bring to the forefront and quit trying to sit up on and put a lid on it, you know.
Because people are dying every day. And that's the part that scares me the most is that women are out here and they're so afraid to leave because, one, they don't think they can live without this person. Two, they think that this abuse is love. And three, they don't know how to get out. I've saved a lot of women, but my first thing is that you have to be willing to press charges because I'm putting my life on the line.
Well, you know, I like the way the laws are now. Most of the times, even if they don't press, if a police officer is called in, they don't have to press charges because the police officer should, you know, take over. It's a mandate that they should do this. Now, I don't know, like we're so strapped here in the city of Detroit, you know, how that's being played, but I'm getting ready to do a lot of research because, you know, I want to be proactive with the young girls. You know, when you talk about self-esteem, when you talk about bullying, you know, just to prevent them from going into that domestic violence cycle, because a lot of young girls are being raised by women who are being abused.
I agree.
And then they just repeat
that's
the cycle.
the norm.
Exactly.
They think it's the norm.
Yeah, because nobody is showing them the right way to be strong enough and, you know, love themselves enough
Right.
to not depend on, not man bashing. This is no male bashing, you
Right.
know, but this is just what's real.
Absolutely.
You know, showing them how to be real women, you know, and
Absolutely.
take care of themselves.
And they also need to realize, and I teach a class when I talk to these young women, that your best asset is not your behind.
Okay.
Turn around and let somebody see your face,
Exactly.
and let them hear your mind and what's on the inside.
Most definitely.
You know, the young ladies are degrading themselves so much so every time I pull up a picture or see somebody on TV or Facebook, or they always are,
Right.
they're behind us
Right.
in a picture. That is not your best asset.
Exactly. I have a young lady that was on the show, Rosina Johnson. She has Induba, and I can't remember all what it is, but she does African body adornment,
Okay.
you know, and talks about, like, you know, the tattoos that our young girls wear today. Why do you put a tattoo on your body
Right.
when you know, our African brothers and sisters, they do that for pride, and it's a way that they adorn their body, and they wear their, you know, their gele, their
Right.
head wraps, and their, you know, they wrap their bodies, you know, but we
Their
just
bodies
let
are
it all.
sacred.
It is.
Their bodies
it's
are
very
sacred.
and that's what, you know, we're trying to show the young people today, you know, that, you know, I always tell my daughters, you walking down the street, somebody see you and they blow the horn, your name is not toot toot.
Or hey.
Okay, for real, you know, so what are they looking at? They don't know anything about you. You could,
Right.
you know, open up your mouth and be just doofus, you know, whatever,
Right.
you know, because all they're looking at
Is the physical.
is the physical part of you, when, you know, everything starts from within
Right.
and not without. So I thank God that you continue to stay on the battlefield
Amen.
and do what it is that you're doing. If somebody is out there and they're suffering with this disease,
Yes.
and they just don't know what to do or where to go, or they're tired, I want you to look into the camera and I want you to just speak from your heart and tell somebody, you know, that there is help and that there is hope, and just encourage somebody today for me.
Absolutely. Like I said, Alzheimer's disease does not have a cure or a prevention, and the medication that's out here is just for a moment. It does not stop it, but if you are suffering with Alzheimer's, if you find yourself losing your memory, or if you find yourself repeating yourself, that's not just, oh, I'm just telling that old story again. Something might be wrong neurologically, and I would advise you, I would highly suggest that you talk to your doctor, that you go see a neurologist, that you get an MRI, that you get a CT scan, because there's a way to for the doctors to look and see if you have that gene. And I know it might be something scary that you don't want to know right now, but it's better to know than not to know, and then to live alone with this disease. And if you are a caregiver, I just want to encourage you and edify you that you're not alone. You're not alone. You can call me. I listen to people talk to me all the time, and I don't get tired, because my job was to take care of my queen, and I called her my
Amen.
queen.
Amen.
And so now my job is for Alzheimer's disease. My phone number, and I gave it before, is 248-817-8336. If you want to call and you just want to talk to somebody personally that you connect with, call me. If you want to talk to the Alzheimer's Association, they have a 24/7 hotline. It's 1-800-272-3900.
Prophetess Long, I really want to thank you
Thank
for taking
you.
the time out of your busy schedule to come here and sit with me, to provide this information. Just thank God that I got to look into the eyes of Rose. You know, it's a sad thing that I never got a chance to see her when she was alive, but I see her eyes in you. You know, I definitely see her eyes in you, and I know that eyes have not seen or ears heard all that you're going to do in the memory of your mother. That'll be a blessing to not just her memory, but to many other people. One thing I did want to ask you, do you know, is there like a Alzheimer's support group where people can go and sit down with other people who may be caregivers or children of people that are affected by this disease?
I don't know if there is a support group locally, but I do have a support group on my Facebook page.
Okay.
You can find me, Prophetess Long, and I have a support group right there.
Okay.
We talk about everything. I have people ask me, look, I'm tired.
Real. Okay.
I don't know what to do.
Real.
You know, my mother was yelling at me for something that I didn't even do.
All right.
How do I handle this situation?
Okay.
So I do have a support group right there.
Great.
And it's called The Eyes of Rose. But once you, if you friend me on Facebook,
All right.
You can join the group.
All right. Well, again, I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I know that, you know, I guess that's why I love the name of my organization, Women in Power Crossing Paths, because when our paths cross, then our lives are never the same, because now we've hooked up and we're intertwined like a cord.
Destiny
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So I want to thank you, my public, my people, for tuning in, my fans, the people that look at this show each and every week. I truly appreciate you, appreciate your continued support. Please support this great cause. Please support the great cause. Remember, your little means a lot. I'm going to end this show, as I always do, each and every week, from my beating heart to your beating heart. I love you. You understand? Okay.